Have you ever seen a fighter win a match by scratching his ear, rolling on the floor, and acting like he's completely lost his mind? We like to think of martial arts as disciplined, stoic, and rigid, rows of people punching in perfect unison. But what happens when the most dangerous person in the room isn't the Grandmaster in the silk robe, but the hunchback janitor who just wants to finish mopping up the sweat? Welcome back to Tales of Wonder. If you enjoy stories where the underdog doesn't just bark, but bites in the most hilarious way possible, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. We drop fresh moral dramas every week. Now, let's begin today's story. The Golden Lotus Institute of Martial Arts wasn't just a dojo, it was a brand. Located in the center of the city's financial district, it had floor-to-ceiling glass windows, imported bamboo flooring, and a monthly membership fee that cost more than most people's rent. If you wanted to learn how to fight, you went to a boxing gym in the suburbs. But if you wanted to feel like a warrior while drinking an organic kale smoothie and networking with hedge fund managers, you came to the Golden Lotus. At the center of this empire was Master Thorne. Thorne was a man who looked like he had been manufactured in a factory that built action figures. He was tall, impeccably groomed, and possessed a jawline so sharp you could slice deli meat on it. He claimed to be the lineage holder of the Iron Mountain style, a form of kung fu characterized by unmoving stances and crushing power. And then there was Leo. Leo was 24, broke, and disillusioned. He had signed up for the Golden Lotus 6 months ago, spending his entire savings, hoping to learn self-defense after a mugging incident left him shaken. Instead, he had learned how to stand in a horse stance for 45 minutes and how to bow correctly to a portrait of Master Thorne. Leo was currently in the locker room, trying to force his way into a locker that was clearly jammed. "Let breathe, kid. You're choking it." The voice was scratchy, like sandpaper on concrete. Leo turned around. Standing there with a mop bucket was Old Man Wu. Wu was the Institute's janitor. He was a tiny, withered man who looked to be anywhere between 60 and 100 years old. He wore a gray jumpsuit that was 3 sizes too big, and he walked with a strange, bouncing limp. His hair was a chaotic nest of white fuzz, and his eyes were always darting around, wide and manic. "It's jammed, Wu." Leo sighed, kicking the metal door. Wu giggled. It wasn't a normal laugh. It was a high-pitched hee-hee that sounded unnervingly like a chimpanzee. "Not jammed. Stubborn. Like you. Watch." Wu didn't use a crowbar. He didn't kick it. He simply slapped the top corner of the locker with a loose, limp wrist, then immediately kicked the bottom hinge with the side of his foot. The door popped open instantly. "Physics," Wu chirped, grabbing his mop. "And magic, but mostly physics." He shuffled away, humming a tune that sounded like a cartoon theme song, dragging his mop in erratic, zigzag patterns. Leo stared at the open locker. He had been kicking that thing for 10 minutes. Wu had opened it with a slap and a twitch. The atmosphere in the main training hall was tense. Today was a demonstration day, which meant prospective investors were watching from the mezzanine. Master Thorne was in the center of the mat, surrounded by his top instructors. "Iron Mountain style is about dominance," Thorne bellowed, his voice projecting perfectly without a microphone. "We do not retreat. We're the mountain. When a storm comes, the mountain does not move." Thorne signaled to his lead instructor, a hulking man named Brock. "Attack me." Brock charged. It was a choreographed attack, obviously. Brock threw a wide, looping punch that telegraphed his intentions from a mile away. Thorne didn't flinch. He blocked the punch with a rigid forearm and struck Brock in the chest with a palm strike. Brock flew back dramatically, crashing on the mats. The investors on the balcony clapped politely. Leo watched from the back row. It looked cool, sure, but it felt empty. Suddenly, a loud screeching noise cut through the solemn atmosphere. Everyone froze. Master Thorne's eye twitched. In a corner of the pristine dojo, Old Man Wu was dragging a table across the floor. He seemed oblivious to the demonstration. He was muttering to himself, wrestling with a folding table that was clearly too heavy for him. "Wu!" Thorne barked, breaking his Zen composure. Wu jumped, dropping the table with a loud clang. He looked up, blinking rapidly. "Yes, boss man. Cleaning. Very dirty here." Dust of mediocrity everywhere. A few students stifled giggles. Thorne's face turned a shade of crimson. "Get out," Thorne hissed. "We are in the middle of a demonstration." "Demonstration?" Wu scratched his head, then scratched his armpit, looking genuinely confused. "I thought it was nap time." Everyone is standing so still. Very sleepy style. Thorne marched over to Wu, towering over the small janitor. "You're disrupting the flow of energy in this dojo. Leave. Now." Wu looked at Thorne's chest, then at his feet, then reached out and poked Thorne's perfectly starched belt. Wu muttered, "Bamboo breaks if it doesn't bend, boss man." Thorne swatted Wu's hand away. "I said get out." He shoved the old man. It should have been a simple shove. Thorne was 220 pounds of muscle. Wu was maybe 110 pounds of bone and gristle. Wu should have gone flying, but he didn't. As Thorne's hands made contact, Wu seemed to collapse inward. His knees buckled, his spine rounded, and he spun like a top. Thorne's shove hit nothing but empty air, and the momentum sent the Grandmaster stumbling forward. Wu, meanwhile, had somehow rolled across the floor and popped up 5 feet away, holding his mop like a staff. "Floors are slippery." Wu cackled. "Watch your step, boss man." Thorne regained his balance, furious. The investors were whispering. Thorne couldn't attack an old janitor. It would look bad. He straightened his GI. "You're fired, Wu. Get your things and get out." Wu's smile faded for a split second, replaced by a look of profound boredom. Then the manic grin returned. "Okay, I go. I go find bananas. Better company." He scampered out of the hall, literally hopping over a gym bag on his way out. Leo felt a knot in his stomach. He didn't know why, but he felt like he had just watched the only real thing in the building leave. 2 weeks later, the Golden Lotus was in crisis mode. The citywide martial supremacy tournament was coming up. Usually, the Golden Lotus didn't compete. Thorne claimed that sport fighting dilutes the purity of the art. But the reality was they were afraid to lose. However, a rival gym, the Viper's Pit, a hardcore MMA gym known for brutal, no-nonsense fighting, had publicly called Thorne a fraud on social media. The video had gone viral. To save face and his investors, Thorne had to accept the challenge. A 5-on-5 team battle. The atmosphere in the dojo changed. The kale smoothies were replaced by protein shakes. The meditation sessions were replaced by sparring. And it was going terribly. The Golden Lotus students were getting destroyed in practice. They knew forms and poses, but they didn't know how to handle chaos. Leo, disillusioned, had stopped going to classes. Instead, he found himself wandering the back alleys of the district, near the loading docks where the trash was collected. That's where he heard the sound. Thwack, thwack, whoosh. He peered behind a stack of pallets. There, in the dim light of a street lamp, was Old Man Wu. Wu wasn't mopping. He was moving, but he wasn't moving like Thorne. He wasn't standing still like a mountain. He was everywhere at once. He was leaping onto a dumpster, balancing on a rim on one leg, scratching his ear, then dropping down into a low crouch that looked physically impossible for a man of his age. He was fighting a shadow. He threw punches from angles that made no sense. Over the shoulder, from the hip, slapping, clawing. It looked ridiculous. It looked like a monkey having a seizure. But the speed was terrifying. "Wu," Leo whispered. Wu froze midair, literally hanging off the side of the dumpster by one hand. He dropped down silently. "Kid," Wu grunted, peeling a banana he produced from his pocket. "You lost? Or just stalking handsome janitors?" What was that?" Leo asked. "Exercise. Prevents rust." Wu took a bite of the banana, skin and all, then spat the skin out. "You should try it. Loosen up that stiff butt of yours." "Thorne fired you," Leo said. "Why are you still here?" "Rent is high. I sleep in the boiler room." "Don't tell boss man." Wu winked. "Can you teach me?" Leo blurted out. Whatever that was. "Can you teach me?" Wu laughed. That screeching he. "Teach you? No. You want to be a statue. You want to look pretty in the mirror. My style is ugly. My style is for people who have no pride, only survival." "I don't have pride," Leo said, stepping forward. "I spent $3,000 to learn how to stand still, and I still can't defend myself. I want to learn." Wu looked at him. His eyes narrowed. For a moment, The crazy old man vanished, and something ancient and dangerous peered out. It's not kung fu, kid. It's not art. It's monkey. Monkey. The Monkey King, Wu said softly. He doesn't fight. He plays. He teases. He steals. And when you are angry, he hits you with a stick. You want to learn to be a monkey? Yes, Leo said. Good. Wu threw the half-eaten banana at him. Catch. Leo missed. The banana hit him in the face. Reflexes of a cow. Wu sighed. We start now. Pick up the trash. The training was not what Leo expected. There were no forms. No moditaschen. No horse stance. Instead, Wu made Leo play tag. In an alleyway filled with obstacles, crates, trash cans, puddles, Wu would chase Leo with a broom. If Wu tagged him, he got hit. Hard. Don't think. Wu would scream, swinging the broom at Leo's head. Thinking is slow. Feeling is fast. Be water. No, wait, water is boring. Be a squirrel on crack. Leo learned to duck not because he memorized a block, but because he didn't want a concussion. He learned to roll because falling hurt. He learned to move his body in weird, asymmetrical ways because traditional stances made him an easy target for Wu's unpredictable broom. The monkey is a liar, Wu shouted one night, hanging upside down from a fire escape ladder. Look high, hit low. Act hurt, then strike. Make them think you are a fool. Nobody fears a fool until the fool has his fingers in their eyes. Leo realized something profound. Thorne's style was about ego. It was about saying, I am here, come get me. Wu's style was the opposite. It was about saying, I am nowhere, I am nothing. Oh look, I have your wallet. The day of the tournament arrived. The venue was packed. The Viper's Pit team looked terrifying, muscle-bound fighters with cauliflower ears and tattoos of skulls. The Golden Lotus team, led by Brock, looked like models in pristine white GIs. It was a slaughter. In the first match, a Golden Lotus student tried to do a formal bow. His opponent simply kicked him in the head. Match over in 4 seconds. In the second match, the Golden Lotus fighter tried to maintain a rooted stance. The MMA fighter took him down and choked him out. By the time it got to the final match, the Golden Lotus was down 4-0. The crowd was booing. Master Thorne was pale. His investors were checking their phones, looking for the exit. The final match was supposed to be Brock versus the Viper's captain, a man named Tank, who looked like he ate bricks for breakfast. But Brock was missing. He had suddenly developed a stomach flu in a locker room after watching his friends get pulverized. We forfeit, Thorne whispered to the referee, his voice trembling. We have no fighter. Wait. The voice cracked from the back of the arena. Leo walked out. He wasn't wearing a white GI. He was wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt that said, I'm with stupid dash. I'll fight, Leo said. Thorne looked at him. You're a white belt. You stopped coming to class weeks ago. Sit down before you get killed. I'm a paying member, Leo said, climbing into the ring. And unless you want to forfeit and lose your franchise, I'm your only option. Thorne hesitated. He had no choice. Fine. Go D. See if I care. Tank, the opponent, laughed. He was twice Leo's size. Look at this little twig. You gonna do some breathing exercises for me, boy? The referee signaled the start. Tank charged. He was a freight train. In the old days, Leo would have frozen or tried to block. Instead, Leo dropped to his knees. The crowd gasped. Was he begging for mercy? Tank's punch sailed over Leo's head. As Tank's momentum carried him forward, Leo didn't counterattack. He simply grabbed Tank's shoelaces and yanked. It was stupid. It was childish. It was effective. Tank face-planted into the canvas with a thud that shook the ring. Leo scrambled away, rolling on his shoulder, popping up on the other side of the ring, shaking his hands out loosely. What are you doing? Tank roared, scrambling up, his face red. Tying your shoes. Leo grinned. He felt it. The flow. The chaos. Tank charged again, furious now. Blind rage. This was exactly what Wood taught him. Make them angry. Anger makes them blind. Tank threw a haymaker. Leo didn't block. He slapped his own cheeks with both hands, let out a yelp like a frightened dog, and ducked under the punch. As he ducked, he used his shoulder to bump Tank's hip, throwing the big man off balance. Tank stumbled. Leo didn't punch him. He poked him in the ribs. Hard. right in the ticklish spot. Tank flinched, dropping his guard. Pop! Leo's back fist snapped out, hitting Tank right on the nose. Not a power punch, but a stinging, watery snap. Tank's eyes watered. The crowd was confused. They weren't cheering, they were laughing. Stop dancing and fight. Tank screamed. I am fighting. Leo yelled back, hopping on one foot. You're just losing. Thorne, on the sidelines, was horrified. This is not Iron Mountain style. This is garbage. But up in the rafters, sitting on a support beam, eating a bag of popcorn, Old Man Wu was grinning. Tank was exhausted. He had been swinging at the air for 3 minutes. Leo was slippery. He was annoying. Finally, Tank managed to corner Leo. Nowhere to run, monkey boy, Tank growled. He prepared a crushing uppercut that would end the fight. Leo looked at the corner post. He looked at Tank. Leo smiled. As Tank swung, Leo didn't dodge. He leaped up. He planted one foot on Tank's knee, the other on Tank's shoulder, and literally backflipped over the man, pushing off Tank's head for leverage. It was the move Wu had used on a dumpster. Leo landed behind Tank. Tank spun around, bewildered. Over here, big guy, Leo whispered. As Tank turned, his legs were crossed from the confusion. Leo simply swept Tank's ankle gently. Gravity did the rest. Tank fell backward. But this time, Leo didn't run. As Tank tried to sit up, Leo dropped his weight, sitting casually on Tank's chest, pinning his arms with his knees. Leo looked at the referee. I think he needs a nap. Tank struggled, but he was winded, confused, and his position was terrible. He couldn't get the leverage to throw Leo off. Tap or I start singing, Leo threatened. Tank tapped. The bell rang. The arena was silent for a second, then erupted into laughter and applause. It was the most entertaining fight they had ever seen. Thorne stormed into the ring. He didn't look happy. He grabbed the microphone. This man, Thorne shouted, pointing at Leo, is a disgrace. This was not kung fu. This was street trash. The Golden Lotus does not endorse this mockery. He turned to Leo. Where did you learn that filth? Leo looked up at the rafters. From the man you fired. The only real master in this building. Everyone looked up. Old Man Wu was descending. Not by the stairs. He had thrown a rope over a beam and was sliding down, spinning in circles, screaming wee. He landed in the center of the ring, dusted off his jumpsuit, and took a bite of an apple. Hello, boss man, Wu said. Thorne's face went pale. You, a man from the VIP section, an elderly Chinese historian who had been judging the event, stood up. He was staring at Wu with wide eyes. Wait a minute, the historian said, his voice amplified by the silence. I know that movement. The erratic stepping. The use of the environment, the intentional humiliation of the opponent to break their spirit. The historian pointed a shaking finger at the janitor. You are not a janitor. You are Wu Zetian, the mad monkey of Shanghai. You disappeared 30 years ago after defeating the 10 Grandmasters of the Jade Circle in a single night. The crowd gasped. Thorne's jaw dropped. Mellow monkey. Wu scratched his butt. Sounds fancy. I just like to move. Is it true? Thorne stammered. You are Grandmaster? Wu looked at Thorne, then at the trophy, then at Leo. Grandmaster is a heavy word, Wu said, his voice suddenly dropping the high-pitched squeak, becoming deep and resonant. It carries too much weight. Makes you stiff. Makes you arrogant. Makes you build glass buildings and sell smoothies instead of teaching people how to survive. Wu walked up to Thorne. He looked tiny next to the plastic giant. You teach them to be rocks, Wu said. Rocks crack. I taught the boy to be water, to be wind, to be a monkey. Monkeys survive the storm. Rocks just get wet. Wu turned to Leo. You did okay, kid, but your backflip was sloppy. You look like a flying potato. Leo beamed. Thanks, Sifu. The Golden Lotus Institute didn't survive the week. The investors pulled out when the video of Thorne being lectured by his janitor went viral. Thorne's reputation as an invincible master was shattered by the reality that he had fired a legend because he didn't look the part. But new school opened up down the street. It was in an old warehouse. There was no AC. There were no mats, just old carpets. The sign out front was hand-painted on cardboard. The Monkey House. Learn to fight. Bring your own bananas. It was packed every night. Leo became the head instructor, though he spent most of his time trying to interpret Wu's insane instructions. Wu didn't change. He still wore the jumpsuit. He still cleaned the floors. He still stole people's lunches. One evening, after closing, Leo sat with Wu on the stoop of the warehouse. Sifu, Leo asked. The historian said you defeated the 10 Grandmasters. What style of monkey kung fu did you use? The drunken monkey? The stone monkey? The lost scroll style? Leo was ready for a profound secret. He was ready to hear about a hidden temple in the mountains, a secret scroll handed down for generations. Wu looked at Leo. He picked his teeth with a splinter of wood. 10 Grandmasters? Wu scoffed. Is that the story they tell? No, no. Then who were they? Leo asked. Rival clan leaders? Wu laughed, that chaotic, wheezing laugh. Kid, 30 years ago, I wasn't a martial artist. I was a thief in the Shanghai markets. I stole food to feed my little sisters. Leo stared. What? The 10 Grandmasters, Wu chuckled, were 10 very angry butchers chasing me because I stole a string of sausages. I didn't learn monkey style from a temple. I learned it because if I hadn't ducked fast enough, I would have been hit with a meat cleaver. I learned to climb walls because the police dogs were fast. I learned to poke eyes because it's hard to chop someone when you can't see. Wu stood up and stretched. There is no ancient secret, Leo. There is no style. There's just a hungry man running for his life. That is the purest kung fu there is. Wu patted a stunned Leo on the shoulder. Now go home and hide your wallet. I think I lifted it 10 minutes ago. Wu cackled and danced away into the night, moving like a shadow, unpredictable and free. Leo checked his pocket. His wallet was gone. Wait, what? Leo yelled, sprinting after his master. It turns out the greatest martial art wasn't about glory or tradition, but pure, desperate survival. It makes you wonder how many experts in our world are just good at looking the part, while the real masters are the ones we overlook because they don't fit the image. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever met someone who looked like a mess, but was actually a genius at what they did? I'd love to hear your stories. If you enjoyed this wild ride with the Monkey King of the modern world, please smash that like button. Hit it with a back fist if you have to. Don't forget to subscribe to Tales of Wonder for more stories that twist your expectations. Thanks for watching. Remember, sometimes the smartest move is to act like a fool. See you in the next video.